Today we are going to make focaccia bread. It is a recipe from the Loopy Whisk website. It is amazing. So I've been gluten-free for 10 years, or over 10 years now. Oh my goodness. So yeah, it's been over 10 years that we've been gluten-free here. And there just weren't these resources that there are now. And so I found the Loopy Whisk, and I've made a couple things from her, which the other thing that I will show on this channel is the hamburger buns. So those are amazing as well. But I'm going to make the focaccia bread today, and then we're going to make grilled cheese and tomato soup for dinner tonight. So this morning I am going to show you guys how I make the focaccia bread, and then I'll show you the other stuff later on today. So how I get started is so this is my weight, not my weight, this is my scale. And I'm just going to turn it on and tear out my bowl so that it says 0 grams. So her recipes are weighing. She also gives the, the measurements in tablespoons or cups, but I found that using the weight has made my products come out much, much better. So what I'm gonna start with is, in this recipe, I use active yeast. So I start off with activating that. She has instant yeast. You can use instant yeast or active dry yeast, but I buy the active dry yeast. So I'm gonna start off with that. And I'm going to make a double batch. So I'll leave this recipe in the description. And this recipe, just double it if you want to make as much as I do. Or you can make a single batch, which fits nicely in a cast iron. So, or in just a smaller, baking sheet. Okay, so I'm gonna put 24 grams of active yeast. All right. And then I do veer away from the recipe in this step. I use honey instead of sugar just because I don't have sugar. So I just basically put in a couple tablespoons of honey to help activate the yeast. Okay. I need 240 grams of hot water or warm water, and I just use what's in my, that comes out of my faucet. It makes it pretty warm. If you go all the way hot, it's the right temperature. So I tear this out again so that it's 0, and then I can pour in the water, and I'm looking for 240 grams of water. I always get nervous when you get close to it because the scale doesn't move as quickly as the water does. Just a little bit more. Okay, we'll just stir that up, and then I just let it sit. Now we're gonna get the the dough stuff. So I buy this millet flour. It is sprouted millet and then ground. I do realize that there's very little nutrients in this because you lose the nutrients pretty quickly after you grind it. So I am making strides to start milling my own flour, gluten-free grain flour. So I'm not there yet. So this is what we've just been using. So I'm going to do, it's 160 grams, so it's 320 is what I need, 320 grams. Okay, there we go. Just pour it into my KitchenAid with my dough hook. Okay, so next I'm gonna put in tapioca, and I am going to do, that's 310, is what I'll do, 310 grams of tapioca. Oops. Tapioca is an unruly flour. It gets everywhere if you're not careful. So I've got my tapioca. I'm just gonna put that in there. And then we're gonna add in sorghum flour. I get this at Vitacost. And often they have sales and stuff. That's the best price I've seen. And in my last jour order, I bought sorghum grain. And I also wanted the millet, but they didn't have it in stock. So I did get the sorghum, and I am in the market for a grain mill. So I'm really excited about this. So 110 grams, so I need 220 of the sorghum. Okay, so in her recipe, she would call for like putting the sugar and the instant yeast in there, but because I use the active dry yeast, so you can see it's activating. I'm gonna put my olive oil. I need 20 grams of olive oil, so that's the double, and then 20 grams of apple cider vinegar. So we're like at the very end at 19 grams. Are you serious to not give it over? I hope, if anything, that this shows you like what real life cooking is like, and not like scripted, like the beauty, like everything's like all measured out. Like this is real life. This is the, it's not quite the Burn It Up cooking show, but this is real life cooking. Okay, so I'm gonna do 20 grams of this. It's a little trickier when you have two things mixed together because it doesn't quite mix, but it does. Okay. Oh dear. This is, okay, so I guess I was touching it. It went to like 71 grams. I was like, oh, okay. Nothing is worse than when your thing starts acting up in the middle of measuring something, your scale. Okay, it's not wanting to. Here, I'm going to do this. Okay, we're at 40. Oh, I didn't do salt, so I'll put this aside and I'll bring my little thing and I'll measure out my salt. Come on, tear it out. There we go. Salt is 16 grams. I'll put that in there. So my yeast is going, and then I'm going to do, hold on. I've got to make my psyllium gel. I need 40 grams. I'm wondering if this bowl is not big enough. Well, we're gonna find out. So I just buy this on Amazon. I can leave the link below because you want the whole husk, not the powder. Although she does give directions if you are using the powder. She gives you directions. I'm doing the same thing that I was doing with the activated yeast. I'm gonna tear that out, and then I'm just using warm water. It's like not super hot. And for this, because I uses the activated yeast, I have to subtract that water out of that I used in there, out of the psyllium husk. So they call for 540 grams of water. So it's 540 times 2, which is 1080. And then I need to subtract out the 240 that I used. So I only need 840 grams, or I would have too much water in my recipe. So I'm going to tear out my psyllium husks, and then I'm going to add 840 grams of water. Whoops, which I don't know where that's moving. that was weird. Just spilling everywhere, and I hope this is big enough. I made this over the weekend with some friends, and I did not choose a wise bowl. And I had to like, okay, so I just need 20 more grams of water, which is not a lot. And it teared out. Okay, so I'm glad I know I only need 20 grams of water. Okay, that's good enough. So I'm just going to get this whisked up, and it's gonna start gelling. In about 30 seconds, it's gonna be a nice gel. I feel like that's kind of what makes this bread act more or less like gluten-free bread. So if you've had gluten-free bread, you've had that dense, you've had the brick, you've had, you know, the bad experience. I mean, one time Justin and I went to a restaurant and like there was, they had gluten-free desserts, and we were like, this is very early in our journey, and we were like, we haven't had somebody else make a dessert that was, you know, so we were like, we'll get it. And it was the worst brownie ever on the face of the planet. It had like a scoop of ice cream with it. We ate the ice cream and left the brownie. It was so bad. So you can kind of see like how it's like nicely gelled up. It can get even thicker the longer you leave it. The reason I'd make it last is because it seems to, it just seems to make the recipe better. So I make my psyllium husk last, and I'm looking for this. Okay, so I'm adding everything in, all my liquids. I have already my dry. I'm just gonna give them a whirl to kind of mix them up a little bit. And then I'm just gonna add all of this to it. So there's the gel, the activated, and then I'm just gonna turn on this and kind of just let it start mixing into the flours. And then once the flours, and especially the tapioca, once it gets more incorporated, I'll turn it up. But everybody who's ever worked with this stuff knows like it'll just poof right out nicely. I mean, it's already poofing still, even at this very low rate. All right, I'm gonna turn that up. So one thing that I do, just like, and see, I don't know if it's my dough or my mixer. I've tried to move the little thing to make it to make it go down, but this is not like a KitchenAid dough bowl or dough hook. It's it's like a aftermarket. Like I lost my dough hook. I don't know where it went. So I had to buy like another dough hook that fit my mixer. So I don't know if you have like a real KitchenAid dough hook, if that would mix it in the better on the bottom, but I find that it does not mix it in very good. I like to let this, let's see what she says in here in the directions, which I got water all over my thing. So she needs it, oh, she just needs the dough until it's smooth and all ingredients are incorporated. So I'm gonna make sure, oh, it's getting it nicely on the bottom. It's probably because this dough hook isn't like meant for this mixer type thing. Just kind of, so that's what I'm saying, is just check your mixer. Just make sure that it is incorporating at the bottom, and that we are, that all of the flours are incorporating into it. For all you gluten bakers out there, you're probably like, this is a disaster. This is ridiculous. Because I'm sure working with regular flour is amazing. And I wish that I could. Okay, so that seems like it is nicely done. I'm gonna pour my olive oil. I like to pour a lot in here. I don't know if that's how much you're supposed to use, but it's how much I use. I just move it all over the bottom of this. So so I've cooked the focaccia bread several different ways. I prefer it on this stone baking sheet. Funny enough, I don't like the way that some things turn out on this baking sheet. So, like this pan de queso bread that I make, I don't like the way that it turns out. So I'm gonna oil my hands up nicely, and then you just kind of push it in. So I'm just gonna cover this now with the cloth. I'm gonna fix the parchment underneath it, and just let it sit here for about an hour. Look at how nice that has risen. So I had this olive oil that I went to a girls' weekend, and this was the olive oil that I took. So I'm just gonna drizzle. Whoops, that didn't really drizzle much. It's kind of pouring it on the top. Okay, so we're just gonna kind of do that. I had brought my nice. Okay, so now I'm gonna dimple it. Dimpling it. No, I'm not smashing. So I'm putting holes in it. See all the holes?
What else are you making with this?
We're gonna have tomato soup and I'm gonna make grilled cheese out of this. This is the Jacobsen sea salt. I normally buy it in bulk, but they're out of it right now. So I am like, we're very slowly using this until it comes back in. But, so this is like a flake salt, and I'm just putting that on the top of it. And then I'm gonna stick it in the oven. So it says for 40 minutes, but I feel like when I do it for only 40 minutes, I feel like it doesn't bake all the way through. So I'll probably leave it in there for closer to 50 to 55 minutes, maybe even an hour. I don't know, I'll check it. So this is what it looks like. I'm gonna put it in. You put it in on the bottom rack. We use that big stop in here. That's why nothing else is in there, but you can have other racks, obviously. So I'm just gonna let that cook in there. 425. I'm gonna start checking it around 40 minutes, but also the 40 minutes was for the single, like I'm doing a double, so that's why maybe it takes longer to do it in the middle. I feel like the crumb is just a little weird when I don't cook it longer. So I'm gonna check that in like 45 minutes, and then we'll see you then. Okay, so I don't know how long this has been in there, lost count, but I'll show you how I determined that it was ready. So one thing, you want it to like just stay stiff, like that. You don't want any bending. That is my clue that this is done, that it's baked long enough, like it's real crispy. All right, now we are going to make our tomato soup. This is, I'm excited because we have our tomato juice and our tomato sauce from this summer that we're gonna add into it. I'm gonna start by chopping up my onion. And this is, so it calls for 2 onions. And you can certainly do that, but I prefer just 1 onion and more garlic, personally. So that's how we're gonna do it. And this is a larger onion. It called for 2 medium onions, which maybe that's the equivalent of this, but this is what we're doing. So just do it is your family. My hope with these videos is just that you can see a real kitchen in action, that it's not like this beautifully curated thing where everything is like perfect. Because I'll be honest, I've seen those videos and it's overwhelming when you're like, wait a minute, that's not how life is. So I'm just gonna put these in the pot. I'm gonna put some butter in them. I always use more butter than what the recipe calls for. I guess I should just say this is my recipe because I've made it what I want it to be. Ooh, those are strong onions. So I'm gonna take my store-bought butter, because I don't think we have any homegrown butter right now. We've used it all. All right, and I'm just gonna, I don't know what that is. I'm gonna put it in my pot and just let that start cooking. I'm gonna put a little bit more butter in. Now we're going to take our garlic and we're gonna smash it. This is what, like 6 cloves of garlic? But some of them are kind of small, so. Just peel those and then dice them up. Original recipe that I called for like whole tomatoes, which I don't have any of those preserved from. We just basically make a bunch of tomato sauce, and when you make sauce, you get a bunch of juice. So when we had extra room in the canner, we would can the juice as well, because we didn't always have extra space in the canner. So chop this up. And okay, so it doesn't have to be super fine either, because we are going to use an immersion blender. If you don't have an immersion blender, you can put it into a blender. You can just blend it in sections, basically. So this will get blended with the immersion blender eventually. So basically, I just want to soften them up, and then I will add the garlic. They've cooked nicely, softened up, and I'm gonna add my garlic and let that kind of cook just for a minute or so.
Just more light.
Stop. Torque.
Put me in it, you get an extra light.
Stop it. So Meg Holler taught me this, where you go like, you can pop that lid off. So I'm gonna stir it. Garlic is smelling good. All right, I'm gonna. Okay, good. I have 2 bay leaves that are basically whole. All right. While this is cooking together, I'm gonna let that go. I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna start prepping my bread and grilled cheese. I think I'm gonna do like this. So that's what the inside of it looks like. It's not like gluten, but it tastes good. And these will be sandwiches. Like I'll cut these in half. And these can be sandwiches. I bought at the grocery store ham and turkey to put in and make some ham and turkey and cheese sandwiches to go with the tomato soup. Get some protein in this meal. And so one of my thoughts was doing it like this, putting the inside like this so that this can get nice and crisp. I think that will be nice. Cut some thin pieces of bread like this, kind of make some grilled cheese like this, like little grilled cheeses. I have made it like when we have like chicken soup, I'll make it as a side, as just like a bread to have on the side of soup. And it's really nice. I've made it for friends when I took them a meal and they're gluten-free and they're like, that bread was so good. I'll do like another set of this and another set of that so that everybody can have what they want. Best cream cheese in the world. Sierra Nevada cream cheese. Here it is. And then I had taken some to the girls' weekend that we didn't use, so I'm gonna use that as well. So I'm just gonna put this in here. Just kind of break it up. So it's not like a gigantic clump. All right. I'm gonna put that in there. This is all the cream we had. So I'm gonna add that. It's almost a cup. But Justin's gonna go downstairs and see if he can get me some more cream. I'm just gonna start immersion blending. It's gonna break up the cream cheese, and also it will get the onions as well. So there won't be like chunks of onion in the soup. Okay, I'm just gonna add a little bit of this cream. That is it for the soup. So I'm just gonna keep it on real low temperature to just butter these. Get everything ready so that when the pans are ready, we can just start loading it up. Cook it quick. This butter is not very soft, unfortunately. So I don't know if you can do it. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is, hold on one second, how do I do this? Like this, and then I'll load it up with cheese. I've been researching how to make lunch meat, so it's on my to-do list, just not there yet. Let's get these on the in the skillet and see how it goes. Feeding boys here, we gotta have a lot of meat. So what I do is I do like that. I keep the butter side together. This is the one thing I hate cooking grilled cheeses is the flipping, and then being even smaller makes it more difficult, but I'm a survivor. Okay, look at how good those are turning out. Let's flip this one. It's gonna be nice and crispy. One of my kids did come in and was like, why are those so small? I like to do things a little different, have some different variety in our lives. All right, I'm gonna get these in the oven. Well, that did you see that? It didn't even stay on. We gotta get it in the oven so that all that cheese will melt onto it. Okay, I'm just gonna stick that in there, and then we'll get some more. I mean, let's be honest, this is real life. This is what every mother and any person who's cooking grilled cheese goes through. Getting burned. You guys mentioned this ladle. It's from Super Cubes, and it's amazing because you can use it and then you just set it on the side. I love it. Here we are. We are done.